So there are some massive names that you guys have been asking me about that have just cratered down in stock price in a very short period of time. And you guys want to know, are these stocks a massive opportunity or a huge trap? Now, guys, I got to be honest, this list this time around is just wild. I mean, we got great companies, we got total trash, and everything else in between. So I'll tell you if I think these are massive opportunities in any of these stocks at these lows, or you need to stay completely away from them. And let's be honest, most of these stocks we don't discuss often on this channel here at all, if not ever, and in some cases. So let's talk about them right now. Just make sure you like the video if you like getting the truth out the hype. That's exactly what you're going to get today, guys. And of course, make sure you're subscribed to the channel here. I don't know. It's just one of those things to where everybody forgets to do it. I forget to do it too. I'm guilty of it. No judgment here. Just go ahead and subscribe as well if you like getting this sort of content. So keep in mind whenever we're talking about this, I'm coming at it from a long-term buy and hold investor's perspective. All right. There's a trade there in some of these. I would agree they're completely, but that's not what I do. And also keep in mind, I don't care about 52-week lows, just like I don't care about 52-week highs either. A stock can still be significantly overvalued even at a 52-week low and vice versa. Whenever those stocks are riding high and hitting a 52-week high, well, guess what? It can also still be significantly undervalued if you're looking at that sort of situation. Now, of course, these are all at lows. Therefore, you got to be careful because just simply because it's at a 52-week low does not necessarily make it undervalued, okay? Always keep that in mind. So let's start with the first stock, and then they just kind of get more controversial as we go into it, culminating in the last stock we'll discuss today, which of course always kicks up a lot of discussion. But let's get on to that first stock, and it would be McDonald's. Now this one, back in the day, back in 2022, was all the rage. Everybody wanted to be into it. The PE was utterly ridiculous. You basically had Meta down at like an 8 PE, and you had McDonald's at like an 80. It is insane, the flip-flop there. Sure as heck glad we didn't go chasing McDonald's and other stocks like that, and instead decided to chase the Metas and the Palantirs and those stocks, down at those lows, because obviously we made a fortune on the back end of all that good stuff. But hey, here's McDonald's right down there now at a 52-week low. And for me, I just don't see a lot of growth there. Obviously, it's a dividend play for sure. For those of you guys looking for a dividend stock, I'm personally not looking for it. I also just look at it and go, don't know how much growth is left. Obviously, they tend to do well in a, if the economy happens to slow. However, McDonald's has gotten crazy expensive over the past few years. So the idea that they are the, discount, go-to place for food whenever the times get tough used to be true. I'm not sure it's necessarily true now. So it's definitely one I would stay away from. Definitely one I'm not interested in, period. But nonetheless, I think they have some problems there that they need to solve. And I don't know how well this is going to go into the future. Obviously, if the economy picks up positively in any manner, I mean, there really isn't any reason to look into McDonald's at that stage. So for me, I'm completely out. But number two is really interesting, and that stock is Microsoft. An incredible business caught up in all this mess to where, I don't know, people want to pay, like 10,000 PEs for speculative stuff that, they got to I don't know, land on the moon and then somehow make that profitable. I don't know. There's just crazy stuff out there right now that's popping off like crazy, and companies with incredible businesses are trading at traditionally low multiples. Some of the lowest that they've seen in a long time, some of them forever. Microsoft definitely fits into that category there. Several stocks that fit in that category, but Microsoft's definitely in there. For me, it's a great company, great stock itself. Obviously, even if the AI doesn't turn out to be what we all think it's going to be there in the future, they're just fine as a business, unlike a lot of the other AI plays where it's strictly boom or bust, right? You're in trouble if it doesn't go well, or if it takes 5 years instead of 2 years or 10 years or whatever the case is. Microsoft's going to be just fine regardless. So interesting to see what's going on with that stock there. But obviously, Microsoft's a great business, definitely one I would be considering looking at if I was going to do that. Of course, you got to do your due diligence, do your valuations and everything else. But boy, by all metrics, looks like it's a steal deal there for a great company like Microsoft. But we got number three, which is Lucid. This one seems to make the list all the time, so take that for what you will. But everything is getting worse except for revenue. It was up, but losses were bigger as well, and that's just not a good sign, right? That's kind of the opposite you want to have happen. You want to have more revenue with an improving bottom line, but that isn't what's happening with Lucid at all. It's one I spoke out against in 2021, was like, hey, not much there. I don't really see a pathway to profitability or just a big TAM in general, considering what they do. Not that they aren't very nice vehicles. They absolutely are, but man, it's just one of those things that was caught up in all the EV hype, and it's just continued to get crushed overall. I mean, do they got to raise more capital? Probably so. but there's no sustainable signs of a turnaround or anything getting better anytime soon. So it's one I'm going to stay far, far away from. And in regards to that, I've done it so far since 2021. Might as well stay away from it now. I don't see anything there from a business fundamental standpoint improving anytime soon. Number 4 is Salesforce. Now, this is another stock similar to Microsoft there that's kind of caught up in this whole SaaS apocalypse. I don't know. Nobody wants to be a part of Salesforce right now. Obviously, it's an incredible business. They are ingrained in a lot of different businesses. And the bet you're making is Salesforce going to get disrupted by AI, or are they so entrenched, so ingrained in their software, so much a part of other businesses that if their management is able to kind of not necessarily pivot, but incorporate AI into their products, it's really, I think, the scarcity or the idea, that fear of just all of a sudden, I don't know, there's going to be a competitor. There is no competitor out there really trying to eat up Salesforce right now, but somehow in the future, they're just going to all do it themselves, and companies are just going to do it themselves, things of that nature. Maybe that does come, but I guarantee you if Salesforce is able to appropriately integrate AI into their products, which I know that they're already working on some, but if you trust that management team and you believe that management team can deliver, then obviously you're looking at a great opportunity here where Salesforce may have some more downward pressure here in the short term, but long term, obviously it'll turn into a great business. And obviously as AI comes, and if they're able to appropriately incorporate it, that means that they can probably improve their margins, which of course means more profits. And of course, it'll probably allow them to actually raise their prices as well. New product here, right? That actually improves their business, able to charge more, of course, further increasing those margins. So Salesforce, definitely, I would definitely take that one over Lucid any day of the week. Number 5 is Mercado Libre. Now, this one may be the most interesting stock on there. It's definitely one that, to me, when I'm looking at this company, fundamentals are great. Everything about it is great. Definitely in terms of valuation, come way down. And the reason why I have caution with all the excitement around the stock is not the business. It's, do you understand the markets? Do you understand what happens in the event that, the Fed decides to raise interest rates? What does that do to currency? How does currency exchange involve in all this sort of stuff? What happens if we have some sort of a global recession? Or more importantly, you have just a slowdown in the areas that they service. Remember, this is not a US based business. This is business outside of the US, and therefore it's always going to trade at a premium to, let's say, Amazon, for example, right? Alibaba has the same problem. It'll never get the same respect, that Amazon gets because, well, they're not Amazon. It still has that, Chinese discount per se on Chinese stocks. They will just never get the same amount of love that those type stocks get. Secondarily, if you don't understand those markets, you don't understand those consumer behaviors in those areas that Mercado Libre operates on a high level, well, you're really kind of fooling yourself into thinking you should be owning that stock. Because if you don't understand those consumer dynamics, you don't understand how it moves in regards to interest rates, obviously, with the US dollar being the world currency. There are plenty of times where those markets that they service are down and struggling as an economy, and the US economy is booming. What happens then to their business? Those are all things that you have to kind of think through and think about. Now, that doesn't mean it's not a deal. It just means you need to understand those dynamics. And it's not the same as simply owning Amazon and just looking at them both, looking at the raw numbers and going, well, one is even cheaper than Amazon is. You got to understand those secondary dynamics to understand exactly what's going on in the business. Hey, a lot of you guys do know all that sort of stuff. So that's awesome. You're on top of it. Just make sure you're on top of that if you're looking at that. Obviously, the numbers look great. Looks like a steal deal. But if you don't understand those dynamics, you could be getting a steal deal, but then not understanding what you own. So therefore, you don't know, is the company in trouble? Or do I need to double down and double up? Let's just say if it happens to get cut another 50% from here. Just a random example. I don't see that happening, but let's just say that it does. You won't know if you have an opportunity or not because you don't understand those dynamics. And you got to understand the stocks and the business and everything else involved with that. So make sure you do that. Number 6 is Nike. Now, this one's an interesting company for sure in regards to the stock itself. And of course, it is beaten down. It is cheap. But I can say Nike's had business problems. They've had problems for a long time in regards to the business. How much more growth can Nike squeeze? They kind of need some sort of a game changer. They already have all the best athletes locked up. So it's not about getting this next game-changing athlete. They already have them all, right? There isn't the next Michael Jordan on the horizon, coming that can completely reshape the entire future of this company. More importantly, they're a mature company now. There's only so much you can buy. And unfortunately, for those years where the quality lagged, the innovation lagged, where everything lagged, a lot of newcomers came up and basically stole their thunder, have been stealing market share for a long time now. And Nike itself has been slow to respond. Now, I know there's a newer CEO in there. He's trying to turn things around. But even if he's able to turn around the business, for me, it's still a legacy style business. It's more of a dividend type play. And right now, I don't need dividend stocks in my portfolio. Now, of course, I want Nike to do well. Jordan's my favorite shoes of all time. The old ones, of course. I don't know anything about any of the new stuff or any of the Jordan brand stuff, but the actual, original Air Jordans, those are my favorite. Obviously, I want Nike to do well in the future, but they do have business problems, and you need to be able to assess if this management team can turn those business problems around or not. And then, of course, understanding, will it give you the same growth that you're looking for in regards to the stock market there? Understanding that it's much more of a legacy style play, much more of a dividend style play. Not that that's bad, but just understand the type stock that you're doing. This is not like buying, a high growth company on a discount. That's not Nike at all. Sorry, it just isn't in regards to the type stock that it is. All right, so 2 more stocks to go. These get a little bit controversial here, but let's start right here with number 7, which is Netflix. Now, Netflix obviously has been all over the map this year in regards to where it's moved and what all's going on. And even for myself, if this stock continues to get cheaper over the next couple of months, I'm definitely going to have to take a look at it because I just believe that they are the best at streaming. Nobody else has been able to figure out how to make streaming profitable except for Netflix. You can debate all the other things, whether you like the shows, don't like the shows, whatever the case is. The reality is people that like Netflix and are on Netflix, and they've proven it, that they can pretty much raise the price a couple of bucks here, a couple of bucks there, and people will continue to pay the membership price. People complain, but again, we all in the end vote where our wallets, and people so far have been voting for Netflix with their wallet. So they do have a business where they can absolutely make those margins better, increase that net income. And of course, as these other companies continue to bleed out of their streaming eyes per se, how much more market share are they going to be able to collect up? How much more can those companies continue to lose money before they just basically throw in the towel? And of course, obviously that leaves a lot of things open for Netflix to start scooping stuff up. And, we can talk about the Warner Brother merger, all that other stuff later on. Not really a debate for here. But as these companies start to shed these businesses, they're going to start putting these things out there at fire sale type prices. And more importantly, I think especially with the Warner Brother, Paramount deal, if that doesn't go well long term, and actually, in terms of the amount of debt taken on and everything else kind of taken on, it was kind of an ugly deal to begin with. That right there just leaves the door open where Netflix is the only player in town to buy it. And of course, at that stage, they're going to be able to command their own prices. Now, that's far into the future. That's not this year. That's not anytime soon. But as this business continues to get cheaper, it definitely becomes much more of a, hey, long term, yeah, I don't think they're going to have this massive growth like they had early on. But there's definitely an opportunity for them to not just be the dominant player in streaming like they are right now, but be able to start picking up their competitors as well at really cheap prices if this management team can execute and stay patient and not continue to try to just pay anything for anything, in regards to those businesses that start to try to shed them because they're just not profitable. They can't figure it out. Netflix is profitable. So, hey, opportunity here for me, but it's going to be a little bit while. I need to see it a little bit cheaper in my own personal opinion. I understand it's trading at a cheap valuation right now. I would agree there completely, but I also say a lot of the growth is out of Netflix that we saw earlier. And in order for us to see that growth, I think it's a multi-year journey for that growth story to really pick back up again. So Netflix is one that's looking at, but not ready to pull the trigger yet. And on to the last stock that is the most controversial stock, and that one would be GameStop. I don't know. I've been speaking out about it since 2021, and there's still multiple people in the comments telling me the ultimate gamma mega whatever squeeze is coming, and their fortune is just right around the corner. Sure, they're down 90-something%, but it's just right around the corner. It's happening. This is a great business. They like to buy all kinds of crazy things that have nothing to do with GameStop. The reality is gaming will continue to move online. It's continued to slow down in general due to the lack of quality and everything else. I understand GameStop doesn't have anything directly to do with that. However, it does hurt their business a lot. And as gamers find different things to entertain their time, right? Because we all end up moving on. Doesn't matter whether it's movies, doesn't matter whether it's games, whatever the case is. I understand gamers are very, very loyal. But is there enough there to continue to push GameStop up? And more importantly, are people magically going to go back into the stores? I just don't see it happening long term in regards to this business. But hey, happy to be wrong there. Every positive thing that's happened to GameStop has essentially been accounting tricks and a lot of other stuff like that. Not anything actually tangible that actually helps the business long term. It's just been all these little short term games that get the folks that follow that sort of stuff all excited when they just really don't know what they're looking at in regards to the investment. So it's one I'm staying far away from. Hopefully you guys are staying far away from as well. But if you want to see my complete watch list with price targets and see all my buy and sell alerts in real time, be a part of the best 6, 7, and 8-figure Discord out there. Get your free coaching, get free courses. I may have left something special for those of you guys down in the pinned comment where you get access to all that. You get access to our live streams. Guys, there's so much going on in the group and a lot of special things coming just strictly for members. Check it out. It's the pinned comment. See if your membership's right for you. And click this video here if you want to see exactly what I'm buying in this market. And click here to see my exact plan for this market. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.